recognize your right to assemble. We are in the midst of a pandemic, and the governance and guidance from the state of California and the County of Orange have prohibited gatherings of this size. In addition, an event like this requires coverings along with social distancing. It comes along with the guidance from the County of Orange, the state of California, and the city of Huntington Beach. Thank you for your cooperation.
This is covered.
They're not going to do anything.
We surrender to the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Luke 12 tells us, and when they bring you before the synagogues and the rulers and the authorities, do not be anxious about how you should defend you in the very hour what you ought to say. So right now we are going to worship in a position of surrender to our King, to the Lord, to the one who created the universe, who holds the stars in his hands, who is the King above every other king, who is all we're arrested for, who is worthy of every kind of persecution for. Guys, this is barely persecution. Are we kidding? This is nothing. All the disciples were killed and martyred because what they believed was that they served a resurrected king. right now is to worship loud but stay low.
Jesus!
And for many of us, we wonder if the children's program is going to stay the same. And we're finally facing change in America. You know, in Acts 4 it says, and as they were speaking to the people, the priest and the captain of the temple, and then they lose their jobs. Some of you may end up in prison. Some of you might not have anything happen. But you have to count the cost to follow Jesus. And let's start family. Let's start to mother and father a fatherless generation. That's what we actually need. And so, if you... Go to Tower 18.
Excuse me, ma'am.
If you are getting baptized, please raise your hand and come forward right in front of me. Let's find.
I'll be back there.
Should I go towards the pier? So, can you begin by telling me your first and last name?
Jessi Green.
Can you spell it?
Jessi space Green like the color Green.
Perfect. So tell me who you are. Tell me what we're doing here and where we're at.
So my husband and I were the, I guess, original directors of Saturate OC, which was originally just supposed to be an equipping night of teaching people how to share the gospel and baptizing people. And we tried to get a venue, and then everything with COVID happened, so then we started meeting at the beach, and it just kind of blew up from there.
So recently the city released a statement saying it's not permitted. What's your response to that?
It's really upsetting. I mean, we called in January originally to get a permit, and they said that they would not give a permit. So then we went to the Hyatt to book a venue, and then we were going to sign with a venue and do the whole thing indoors, and then that same day they released that you couldn't do anything inside because of COVID. So we were like, all right, I guess we'll just take our small little group and meet on the beach. And we always thought that this was public land, the beach. And so we were told we couldn't pray or worship or share the gospel inside, but we were allowed to do it outside. So we've been coming here, but now we're being told that that's not allowed and that's illegal, but they won't issue us a permit. We've asked them, where can we go? We'll go anywhere. We just want to be able to share the gospel. And they wrote us a citation, and we have to appear in court. And they said that if we continue on, we'll be arrested.
They wrote you a citation today?
Yeah.
What is it?
This afternoon. They came to our house, the police.
Describe that to me. That's
yeah.
kind of...
I mean, I have a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 2-month-old baby, and I was just like with my kids getting ready for tonight, and we got an email from the city council that they basically that we needed to have masks available and prepare for COVID stuff, and we were like, okay, so we bought hundreds of masks and everything, and then an hour before the event, 2 police officers showed up at our house, and it's really jolting, to be honest. It just felt weird, and we tried to converse and ask like why protests were allowed, but this wasn't, and the conversation just kept going in circles. So they wrote us a citation at our house and basically told us that if we didn't cancel tonight, there were going to be police there. I mean, there's signs like up and down the road that say Saturate OC is canceled.
And those aren't your signs?
No. They're government signs, which I guess is like free advertising. But yeah, I mean, I was preparing today. I left my kids at home, and I was preparing today to be arrested, possibly for 6 months.
I mean, just first of all, tell me about the PPE, because I saw you do have a lot of PPE, and I talked to some people, and they feel comfortable outside not using it. Can you just tell me about that?
Like the masks?
Yeah, like you bought the masks, you have them available.
Yeah.
I don't see people necessarily using them. They feel safe.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is we're in Orange County. People go to the beach every single day, and so none of this stuff is being demanded when we're at the beach surfing or just hanging out. But for a worship thing, we need to enforce having masks. And honestly, if you look around, like, it's impossible to enforce something like that. So we have them provided. We emailed twice today telling people that we're providing masks, but we won't breach free will either.
So you have them available, but do you think a lot of people aren't using them, are they?
I would say it's about 50-50. Okay. Yeah.
And so tell me about just your reaction to the government. I mean, like, do you feel discriminated against? Do you feel like that your free speech and your First Amendment rights being violated? Just tell me about that, like your reactions.
Honestly, this is just really crazy. I'm sometimes like pinching myself, and I'm like, am I in America? Because I thought this was like the home of the free, and like freedom of religion, freedom of the right to assembly. I'm like, I feel like all of my constitutional rights are being violated right now. I'm trying to call lawyers. I just like don't even know. It's really emotional. I feel like I'm way in over my head. I feel like all day they've been intimidating us, and they said that the state government was involved, and I just feel like this is so crazy. Like, it's just Christians trying to worship like who we believe is God on the beach, and yet protests are allowed and this is not allowed. It's very confusing, and I just feel like at the same time, though, like maybe this is the very thing the church has needed, because we've gotten too comfortable. And I think right now is just an opportunity for the church to rise up and like stand up for our rights as citizens, at least at the very most.
Do you plan on fighting the charges?
Absolutely, I plan on fighting the charges.
Are you gonna set up like maybe a GoFundMe or for attorneys, or you have that in the process?
Yeah, we're probably gonna set up like some kind of petition or something. I mean, we right now are just seeking legal counsel to see what our next steps are. I like called on Donald Trump today to help us, because I just feel like this is such a violation of just like our rights as citizens. And I mean, like this beach is a public beach, so it's supposed to be like they're supposed to be serving us and protecting us for our right to be able to be on the beach that is America's. And so this isn't private property, and the permits are supposed to exist to protect us, not stop us from worshiping. So yeah.
And I mean, how many people do you think, and are you going to continue doing it?
Like how many people are here?
Roughly.
I have no idea.
Several hundred, would you say?
Yeah, probably. We have like around 2,000 people registered, but we were getting like hundreds of texts of people asking if it was canceled because the sign's on the beach. So I actually have no idea. But
fair enough. And anything else you want to add?
yeah, I mean, we're not canceling Saturate. We're going to keep going. We just encourage everyone to start Saturates in their own cities tomorrow. And I feel like we really want the president to step in right now and defend our rights as American citizens to assemble and to say that, like, we just love Jesus. Like, I feel like that should not be illegal. And we are sending people to every single park right now. And I just feel like right now we need to put a stake in the ground and just be able to freely worship God.
What would you say to people that say that maybe this is dangerous or COVID, that you're not maintaining social distance? What would you say to that?
I mean, I think everything in life, there's like a little bit of danger. Like we get into our cars every single day, and if people are afraid of COVID, I don't know how they're getting their groceries and stuff, because it's kind of, this certainly seems way safer to me than Costco. And I mean, medically speaking, I think the safest place you could be is in the ocean. So if you're afraid of COVID, maybe get baptized.
Thank you so much. Can you just tell me, begin by your first and last name?
Yeah, my name's Henry Hastings.
It's obvious, but can you spell it?
Hastings, and Henry is Henry.
Awesome. And just tell me who you are, what you're doing here.
Man, actually, my wife and I moved out here because we prayed that we wanted to be in the next Great Awakening 7 years ago, and God started speaking to us about moving to California, and we were living in Atlanta at the time, but I'm actually born and raised here in California, in Newport Beach, and I really did want to come back, and we moved out here to be in the next Great Awakening. And we have a passion to see Christians come alive and walk in the fullness of their calling in Christ and fulfill His plan for their life and live that abundant life that Jesus promised.
And so you're doing this in a public area because there isn't the COVID, the social gathering, you can't do it inside. So can you just tell me about the environment and the ocean, being outdoors, and as far as you feel safe outdoors? It's, you got the sun and
Yeah, there's an awesome verse in the Bible, and it talks about, not putting a light under a basket. And I feel like, church buildings have become baskets that hide the light of the Lord. And Jesus said, I'm the light of the world. And all we're doing is getting out in public. We're assembling together because the Bible says, don't forsake assembling together as the habit of some, but keep on encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. So we're assembling together because Jesus told us to assemble together. We're worshiping Jesus because He is our God, and He died for our sins and was raised again on the third day and is now at the right hand of God the Father. And so we're worshiping Jesus and praising Him, and it's awesome to be in this country because constitutionally, that's one of our First Amendment rights to do.
And so, touching on that, tell me how it makes you feel, your reaction when the city's saying that this isn't permitted, putting up signs saying it's not happening. And
Yeah, it was interesting to see all that happen today. It forced all of us to be in prayer. I think it's actually an honor to receive citations and to be arrested if they were to choose to arrest us. We just consider it an honor. And the coolest thing is, and the strangest paradox is, we're introducing people to the Prince of Peace, whereas other groups are causing havoc and they are setting buildings on fire and destroying property, and they're introducing people to the Prince of Darkness. And yet they allow that to go on, but they want to shut this down. And this is the answer for our country, for people to have these stony hearts turn into a soft heart with the love of Jesus in it to love people with. So even despite the citation and even despite the city's attempt and the police's attempt to shut this down, we're moving forward because that's what it's all about. It's about Jesus.
Do you feel a little discriminated against this, that some groups are, allowed to protest and stuff, but then your gathering here is not allowed?
If I even went there, I'd allow myself to become a victim. And I am not a victim. I'm a follower of Jesus.
Awesome. And what would you say, everybody here, they feel really safe because it's outdoors. You have this great open space in the ocean. What would you say to people that say, oh, that's not safe, or, the COVID complaints?
I would say that if they did research, the beach is the safest place to be out of all places because of the microbes and everything else that are here. And there is not a virus that I'm aware of that can live longer than 30 seconds in UV light. And we're in UV light.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to add to, what would you say to somebody that just thinks this is terrible, that this is going on? What would your message to them be? Man,
I would say that Jesus died to give you a life that's more abundant, that is free from things that have held you captive, and you can really experience heaven on earth, this side of heaven, in the land of the living, and you don't have to wait to get to heaven or try to be good enough to get there, because God will meet you right where you're at through his son Jesus.
Are you going to be out here next week?
We are actually shifting the location.
Oh, okay. Is that a secret or to be determined? Or
it's to be determined right now. Yeah.
Awesome, but you're not going to stop just because of
No. And we may be going on the road up and down the California coast.
And other people that are seeing this on maybe the East Coast, what would you say? Words of encouragement?
I would encourage them to get together, no matter how small, because Jesus said, where 2 or more are gathered in my name, there I am also with you, and just start worshiping Jesus in public. It's time to arise and shine and not hide and hoard. It's not time to sit and bury your head in the sand like an ostrich. It's time to get out and experience Jesus through people.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
No, man, I love you and love everybody, and I'm just so stoked. This is amazing.
How many people do you think were here? I'm not doing it.
The first week we had 300. And about 30 people got baptized the first week. The second week we had about 800 people. And about 50 people got baptized. Last week was about 1,200 people, and 80 people were baptized. And I think today we're actually pushing 80 people today for baptisms.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Not part of Saturate OC exactly, so I'm not quoting them. I'm giving you my opinion.
Yeah, just as a person that comes here.
The group Saturate OC is a lot of Christians coming together, preaching the gospel in a public place on the outside, since we can no longer be in the churches. Again, I'm not saying this is their cause. We're going to do some church outside. We're preaching the gospel. People will come and they'll say, we want to be baptized. Just strangers, people that don't know Jesus. We baptize in the water. It's very peaceful. As you said before, you heard people singing earlier. It's really just all about Jesus, letting people know that there is a God that loves them, and coming outside. Since we're coming outside, we're outside now.
And I kind of talked to you about this earlier, but First Amendment, what do you think the government trying to say, it's not okay to come here? I mean, that's kind of, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I try not to focus on the political. I could give you a whole nother opinion about that, but I don't have a soapbox over here to stand on. So I'm going to stick with my Jesus information.
And you feel safe here? It's outside?
I absolutely feel safe here.
No concern about, because some people are going to
I am not.
social distancing.
I am not worried about that, and I do work in a grocery store, so I'm wearing a mask all day. My husband and I did bring masks just in case the Saturate OC people said, hey, we'd like to have masks tonight. We are prepared to wear a mask, but as far as being outside and singing to the Lord and talking about Jesus, that is something we're here to do.
Awesome. And what was your name?
My name is Sharon.
Can you just spell it?
Yes. S-H-A-R-O-N.
Last name or?
I don't know. Do you want that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Wimber, W-I-M-B-E-R.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Do you live in Huntington?
No, I live in Mission Viejo. I just got off of work at 5 and came down.
So this is something that you wanted to come to?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm, without giving you the exact age, I'm over 60. I did get saved in the Jesus People movement when I was 8 years old. And I noticed, oh my gosh, there's a group of people worshiping Jesus on the beach just like my days. And so I decided to come down, and what's lovely is that it's a lot of young people. It's more young people than people my age. But it's good to know that our God is strong and that the youth is coming to the Lord also. It's not just us old people.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.